Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to the Don't Wait for Your Wake-Up Call podcast. I am your host, Melissa Deely, and excited to be back here today with you. Today, I'm talking about beliefs, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. Yes, that is a linear line that gets us from our beliefs to the results. As I continue talk on mindset, beliefs, passion, purpose, and that Japanese concept of ikigai throughout the month of December 2021. I just thought this would be a fabulous topic to set you up for success in you starting off 2022 in the right frame of mind to make it your best year yet. So yes, our beliefs are formed in childhood. And very often they're beliefs that come out of moving us from pain to comfort, to pleasure, to safety. Those beliefs then trigger thoughts. The thoughts trigger feelings. Those feelings drive us to action, or of course, inaction. And then the action is what triggers our results. So let's dive in. I just want to talk about our subconscious mind. I mentioned it 2 episodes ago, and if you haven't listened to that episode, number 43, go back and listen to it. Our subconscious mind is a filing cabinet. It stores everything from every experience, every thought that we've ever had without any filter, with no judgment. It simply stores it. And it is always there and is drawn upon later in life when our brain is trying to figure out how do we respond to a certain situation. And as an example of this, if you take 3 different people and you put a snake in front of them, you might get 3 different reactions. One of them might scream and run. One of them might be just completely indifferent and not really respond at all and look at the snake and go, yeah, whatever, and walk on past. And the third person might be like, oh, look at that snake. It shouldn't be here in the city. We need to help that snake, get to some grass or get to the woods or whatever, right? 3 completely different responses from the same trigger, a snake. And those responses are all happening as a result of our subconscious looking in the filing cabinet and going, oh, have I been here before? Have I experienced a snake before? How do I respond? So, the child that grew up on a farm and had snakes around them all the time and absolutely loves and adores animals is the one that wants to help the snake get to safety. The one that's completely indifferent, well, their experience with snakes before was one that also, it was safe. It didn't cause any fear, it didn't cause any harm. It's like, yeah, whatever, keep going with my life, right? And the one who screamed is the one who's had that experience before. If that's how you respond when you see a snake. Perhaps they'd seen an adult see a snake and scream. And so their subconscious mind goes, that's what I do when I see a snake. So it's really interesting to understand this because our subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of what's going on in our brain. It's all the things that we do on autopilot. It's responsible for our beliefs, our values, our identity, our self-control, our habits, our emotions. This is truly our boss. Whereas our conscious mind is responsible for only 10%. And it's responsible for our willpower, our analysis, and our decision making. So it's our alpha theta brainwaves that divide our conscious and our subconscious minds. And in fact, next week, my guest is someone who helps her clients get unstuck or overcome trauma by using theta healing. So make sure you come back and check out that episode as well. But in order to override those deeply seated beliefs in our subconscious mind that are often there since childhood, we must use repetition or a deep emotionally charged event that will rewrite the first charged event. And this is what my next guest helps people do. First, we have to know, though, what we must override. And there's 5 steps in understanding what we need to override that is deeply seated in our subconscious mind that may not be serving us any longer as an adult. So the first one is our set point theory. This is what you were pre-programmed into as a child, such as your thoughts, beliefs about money, education, relationships, health, body, and spirituality. You have to know the scripts or the programs that you were running on autopilot in your subconscious mind in order to be able to change them. And no matter how far you are being to move ahead, you will eventually end up right back where you are in your comfort zone if you don't override those original beliefs and thoughts. Because the brain is charged with bringing you back within that set point theory. It's only going to let you go so far before it brings you back. It's also helpful to be using gratitude and perspective to help with this reprogramming process. And the fact is that you also have to acknowledge that the beliefs that served you as a child were helpful to you then. And so you do need to be grateful for them. And that's where that gratitude comes in. However, you are now an adult, and if they're no longer serving you, you have the right to choose and to replace those previous beliefs and thoughts with better serving ones for who you are today. So whatever has been programmed, as I said earlier, was a way to avoid pain and move towards pleasure. And our subconscious simply won't let us move too far above or below the set point until we change the belief. So the second thing is our sympathy cycle. Your present, possibly unhappy state of being or health may be garnering you attention or sympathy. Family or friends may be checking up on you. And without this problem, you may not get the attention or the sympathy that you seek. And so getting well may cause you to believe that you'll lose relationships. Overcoming this will hinge upon creating new relationships, healthier relationships with others. All of this is happening in the subconscious. Until you create awareness around the thoughts that you have, the way that you talk to yourself. In episode 43, I asked, are you listening to yourself or are you talking to yourself? Creating the awareness around the voices in your head, what you're listening to, and how you might be talking to yourself will allow you to realize that maybe this is you. Maybe unknowingly, you're falling into this category of the sympathy cycle. Or perhaps you have the victim mentality and you're not aware of it until you hear what it is right now. In this mentality, you believe you are a certain way because of your environment, your upbringing, or your genetics. You've accepted your fate, that this is the bad hand that you have been dealt by life. You've given over your power of control to others or the world. You believe the world or others are at fault, and you accept no responsibility. Therefore, you have no control to change things. And if this isn't you, you probably know someone in your life that falls into this category. To overcome this, You must take personal responsibility, and with that, a sense of control over your life. Forgiveness is not something that we do for other people. We actually do it for ourselves so we can get well and move on. And that's a big part of this process, is instead of laying the blame, giving up our power, and having no responsibility for where we're at today, we can choose to take responsibility for where we're at today while forgiving whomever we need to forgive in order to allow us to move forward. That person may not even know that you're stuck because you haven't forgiven them. That person might have moved on. Sometimes we get ourselves stuck and feel like we can't forgive, and the only person we're hurting is ourselves. And so choosing to forgive in order to free yourself and move forward is incredibly powerful. It doesn't mean that whatever happened is now right. It simply means that you're able to move forward. Another one is the fear of failure or success. Fear has two acronyms. You choose the one that works for you. Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. A lot of people are afraid of, what if I fail again and this was my last hope? People hold on to a hope or a belief when they don't yet believe in themselves. Or there's the, what if I succeed and I don't like my new life, friends, or job? What if people view me differently and don't accept me anymore? Overcoming these concerns happen with less judgment of yourself and accepting who you are and what you really want out of life. It comes with knowing you'll be fine either way. Something I learned in the early days of my health coaching training was to trade in judgment for curiosity. And that comes when judging yourself as well as judging others. Why judge? Especially judging others. You don't know the other person's circumstances, but you could get curious as to why a certain situation's happened. Get curious about what you need to learn. And if you're judging yourself, get curious about that. Why am I judging myself? What if I choose to instead get curious and say, what could I learn to move through this moment and get to where I want to get to? Judgment is such a negative word, and it does cause us to want to shy away from it. But getting curious, well, that's exciting. That's opening up new opportunities, new learning. And so when we get curious, we can also find a far greater place of happiness as a result. And then the last one is changing the outside doesn't change the inside. And this is really interesting. Dr. Maxwell Maltz is a plastic surgeon, and he saw deep unhappiness even after the person got the exact look they wanted. Chasing the body, the health, the spirituality, the relationships, and the career won't make you happier if they are covering up the real desire you seek, which could be love, acceptance, safety, and security. Overcoming this comes from working on the real you and rewiring programs of why you may feel inadequate or be living in fear. Let's just talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It is a triangle shape, and at the bottom widest section, it represents our basic physiological needs, which is access to shelter, clothes, food, toilet, sex, and sleep. The next level up is feeling safe and secure, which comes from having physical safety as well as secure income. The third level up is love and belonging. So that's all about our relationships and connections with others, humans, and our animal friends too. The fourth level up is self-esteem, getting the job or the degree that you want, achieving your goals, satisfying the ego. And at the very top of the triangle, of course, the smallest little piece is self-actualization. This is the level that is all about service to others and giving back. Choose to do one thing every day that helps you move forward and get out of your slump. You won't be able to change your problems overnight, but starting with understanding that you can change your beliefs and change your actions, that you can do this. And if you need the help of someone else, reach out to practitioners that can help you. I want to share with you the work of Dr. Stephen Cabral, my mentor. And this is, really 10 helpful tips that you can use now to start transforming your life and others. But as I said, there are many practitioners that can help with this, those involved in, body code work and theta healing, etc. Because if there is past trauma that's deeply buried, it's really helpful to be able to release that before moving into this work that can literally transform your life. So there are 10 ways to transform your life and the life of others. And in order to get the most out of life, we have to first know the rules. And so I'm going to go through these 10 rules. The first one is having unrealistic expectations. Every day doesn't have to be a perfect 10. Life will have its ups and downs. But when you are down, there is only one way to go, and that is back up. So instead of having that pity party or make that pity party quick, and then focus on getting back up. There is, of course, the human experience, which is point number 2, rule number 2. We will face unfortunate circumstances. And as humans, this is not avoidable, and we don't want to avoid it because it actually helps give perspective that life could be worse or even more challenging in that moment. It teaches you to express gratitude for what we do have and enjoy the time when things are going well. Number 3, ask for more. You were made for more. Do not give up on your dream. You don't have to know how you'll achieve your dream, but step into the process of moving forward. Do not ask the universe for every little thing. Ask for your great big dream. And number 4, ask the right questions. Instead of giving up, simply ask, what am I missing in order to achieve this dream? What are other people doing in order to achieve this dream? What do I need to be, do, or get in order to achieve this dream? What certification might I need? You're asking for your great big dream, and maybe that feels overwhelming and you don't know where to get started, but break that down into smaller pieces so that you can tackle the smaller pieces and start taking action. And then that will lead you to the next stage. You don't have to start at the very beginning, know exactly how it's all going to be done. Just start with the first step, and then things will start to fall into place and you'll follow the path. That's definitely what I did as I found my way into health coaching and being an integrative health practitioner. I didn't know, my dream was to have a business and work for myself and work from home and to serve as many people as I can as I build my business. And now my dream is to teach more people about being proactive in their health and taking preventative action in their health and not giving up the power of their health to their doctor to tell them what to do. And so that comes through educating people about all the steps that they can take in their health journey. But I didn't know all of that when I got started. I just had to start down one path and keep following that path as different things happened in my life that just kept leading me down this path until I landed here. I never knew at the very beginning this is where I was going to land, but I got started, I kept taking action, and I followed the steps. So point number 5 is take the bull by the horns. Train your mind and nervous system to be a winner. So 2 episodes ago, and even in our last episode with Ken Streeter, we were talking about training your mind, your mindset. Believe in your ability to achieve things. Talk to yourself rather than listening to yourself so that you are talking to yourself as if you're talking to someone that you love, because all of that trains your mind to be a winner. And once you commit to a goal, see it through and understand ahead of time it won't be easy, and it's not supposed to be. Overcoming obstacles and building off each one is part of the journey you're going through in order to achieve the goals you want to achieve. Ride the ups and downs like a wave. Take control of your life. It's yours. Your friends, your family, your doctor cannot live it for you. Own it for yourself. Number 6, you can do anything. Lifestyle and environment account for 95% of all good or poor health. It's not just your genes. It's the environment you create inside your body. It's the lifestyle that you live. You have so much more control over your health than you believe. And it's the same with your life. Stop with the belief that you aren't good enough or you don't know how, and get out and learn how to get better or copy mentors. Everything can be learned. Everything will be practiced poorly until you can become proficient. You didn't just start riding a 2-wheeler bike the first time you tried, right? You may fail and be tested 100 times, but if you don't stop, you can't lose. You truly can do anything you set your mind to. And I am eternally grateful to my mother who told me that when I was 6 or 7 years old. I remember we were standing on the back deck of our house in Tokyo, and my brother was climbing a tree. And I think I had said something like, "Oh, I wish I could do that, but I'm a girl. I can't go climb the tree." And my mother said, "It doesn't matter that you're a girl. You can do anything you set your mind to." And I remember saying, like, I could even be a firefighter. I could be a pilot. I was actually trying to think of all the things that she would say no to. "Oh, you're right. You can't do that because you're a girl." And never once did she say that. And it shifted my mindset on that day. Like, wow, I really can grow up and be anything that I want to be. Number 7, you are the sum of all your choices. Don't wish for what you don't want. Wish for what you do want. So many people can actually better enunciate what they don't want than what they do want. So make a list of the things that you don't want, if that's easier to start off with. But then from there, build your list of the things that you do want. Because when you write that down, you put it on paper, you start to speak that, you start bringing these things into your world. There is no overnight success, though. And remember, your thoughts become feelings, which lead to actions and then results. And the millions of small and large actions you've taken are what now define you. And the great news is that you can begin to take new actions and set a new course in your life at any time. And the great news is that you don't have to be perfect, since it's the sum of those choices that counts. So if you're making good choices 80 to 90% of the time, the other 10 to 20% won't matter. And all of those choices, all of those actions are what add up to your success. It's not overnight. It takes time, but it's like a snowball. And as you start with smaller actions, they build into more and more until, lo and behold, you've reached that goal that you set. And maybe now you have to create a new goal to keep going because you've found your passion, your purpose, you love what you're doing, and you're not stopping. But if you're not there yet, stop procrastinating. Grow to your potential. The time to get started was always yesterday, but the second best time is today. Begin journaling your ideas, but don't let them remain fixed to paper. Put them into action. Know that you may fail in the beginning, but they are learning experiences of what not to do again. The time is going to pass anyway, so you might as well just get started. Number 9 is find your purpose and path. Get excited about life. What excites you? It can be a career, a hobby, writing, family. Your purpose and passion lie in that intersection of what you are good at or what comes easily to you what you enjoy, and where time seems to just fly by without you even knowing it when you're in that flow state. Make a list of the activities you enjoy that you would be willing to do for free, because the answer will be found on that list. Have fun in the process. This is point number 10. Life can be short. Make the most of it. Don't waste a day of your life. The easiest way not to waste life is to be grateful and start each day with gratitude. Put things in perspective that life could be 10 times worse. It could be. And give thanks for what is going well. Set plans for today to just be better. Move one step further forward than yesterday while enjoying watching the process unfold before you. Remember, I said it before, do one thing every day that helps you move forward and get out of your slump. And it's so true about putting things in perspective. When I remind myself that I'm always exactly where I'm supposed to be, that I'm not given more than I can handle, that helps me put things in perspective. I will stop and ask myself, is this a first world problem? That helps me put it in perspective. If it's a problem, I ask, has anyone died? That helps me put it in perspective. And when I can answer those questions and no one's died, and yes, it's a first world problem, then, and recognizing that things could be worse, I realize that I can be bigger than the problem, which I talked about 2 episodes ago. And when I'm bigger than the problem, it is figure outable. And then I work to figure it out, even if I have to break it down into smaller size pieces in order to get started. So I'll share a couple of other books with you, again, that you might be interested in if you like this topic. One of them is written actually by somebody that used to work with my dad when I was a very small child. And in fact, even before I was born. And I met him at a conference about 5 years ago. We'd never met before. But when he announced that he had worked at Encyclopedia Britannica in Sydney, Australia, and he said the years that he was there, I was like, this guy must know my dad. And sure enough, he did. So this is 7 Keys to Unlock Your Full Potential by C. James Jensen. Another great book is The Big Leap. So taking the big leap, but broken down again into steps, figuring out your genius zone, which again is that zone where you're working in flow, doing something that you love, with action steps that you can take in order to help you figure that out. And another one is The Power of Habit, understanding how we form habits and how we change habits. Because when we can change habits, we can replace habits that no longer serve with habits that are much more serving in achieving the life that we want. A life of joy and pleasure, and a life by our design. So thank you so much for listening, for joining me, for being part of the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call community. And join me again next week as my guest comes back and we continue this conversation and we dive into her story and how she came to be working in the arena of theta healing. So until then, have a wonderful week.